After so many years, hounded by hatred and trapped by fear, I'm in a box. I've got no place to go. If I follow my mind, I know I slaughter my own. Help me, I'm the prisoner. Won't you hear my plea? I need somebody, yeah, to listen to me. I beg you, brothers and sisters, I'm counting on you, yeah. Black babies in the womb, shackled and bound, chained by the caveman who keeps beauty down, smacked on the ass when they're squalling and wet, heir to a spineless man who never forgets, never forgets that he's
Peace, family. Welcome. Peace and love, that is. Welcome to the Northeast Political Prisoner Coalition podcast, NEPPC. What I should just say is our show, right? Because this is what we bring to you every Wednesday. Please pardon our interruption, as the last 2 Wednesdays we were unable to bring you live footage, right? Due to our conflict in our schedule. Abdul Haq Islam, he has some matters that he has to contend with. So I'll be here today by myself, but you know, the show must go on, right? We have to continue to fight. We got to continue to organize to bring our political prisoners home. I was just recently on the phone with Reverend Joy Powell, and she just giving me some encouraging words. She wants it to be known that she's staying strong. We got to do more to support her. So if you're aware or are not aware of how to reach out to her, especially we're giving her some funds, right? Because she's a diabetic. So she has a very strict diet, and you know, the prison facility is not into accommodating people with medical issues, right? We who love them and organize for them, we have to do that. That's our responsibility. So cash at me at Sefusankofa, Sefusankofa. That's my cash app, and I could give that money directly to her. Prior to us coming on, I gave you her information. So if you're more comfortable with reaching out to her directly, do so. You know, it's all about gaining resources for our political prisoners and bringing them home. Today's episode, we focus on Black music and its relationship to culture of accountability. Now, when I talk about a culture of accountability, I'm talking about those who are conscious and active, right? Because that's exactly what it means to be accountable, is to take your consciousness and utilize it to address the issues that are going on within your community, within your nation, locally, nationally, and internationally, right? So when I put together this podcast episode, you see that I showcased Fela Kuti. Fela Kuti was very conscious. He acquired his politics through a visit to New York City, Harlem in particular, and where that's where he's seen a number of people with African garments, particularly dashikis, and he knew that there was a presence there that was very strong, and those who he engaged with let him know what was going on at this particular area at this particular time. And that had an effect on him, and he utilized that to raise the consciousness of those he encountered. And I think that that's how we need to understand the power and importance of music, right? When you're talking about 1865, when we were so-called free, that was a struggle to get to it there. And part of that struggle is morale support. What boosts your morale? How do you endure when times are getting hard? One more morale boost is music. And so, whatever time period you're talking about, there were particular songs that carried us over, right? The Africans brought their songs and their stories as well to North America, and as they on the plantation, they're exchanging those songs and those stories, and they're getting past the days. They're getting through those intense work hours. And I think that we have to understand that that's utilized any time period that we're dealing with, and how we're going to endure. We're going to endure by the usage of our music. Our music is going to help carry us over. When you're talking about the 60s, you're talking about the assassination of Kennedy. And you're talking about the assassination of Martin Luther King. And that had a profound effect on us, and we had to endure. And music was one of the things that kept us pushing, right? When I think of certain songs during that time period, I think of Sam Cooke, Change Is Gonna Come. That song did a lot for us, uh, those who were organizing, those who were involved, those who understand what they were up against, and the fact that they had to keep pushing. And whenever you're talking about resistance, you're talking about those who resisted to the point where they were martyred, they were made martyrs, or they were captured, right? Freedom fighters captured and made political prisoners. And they um, were inspired by music, and music allows them to keep going. So as we think about those historical periods, we should ask ourselves what inspired the political prisoner to keep going. What songs, it could be a particular song that did something for us. And now we look at the political prisoner and they felt that same way. And they kept pushing, they kept going. They were inspired to fight, because you're not going to get no victories without having inspiration and having endurance and stamina. Those are important factors for anybody who chooses to fight, right? Because you look at the conditions of your people and you're bothered, you're traumatized. Then you have to make a decision: how long does this last, and who will inherit this situation or this arrangement of things if I don't do anything about it? Well, once you start to think like that, then you start to say that I'm going to make a decision that I'm going to step up. I'm going to make a decision that those who are coming after me, who look to me for guidance, who look for me for protection, will have that. And they're going to have that because I said so. I'm making a decision that I need to stand up. I'm making a decision that, I'm not going to ignore my responsibilities. I'm going to accept it, you know and there are a number of different songs, whether it's R&B or it's blues or it's jazz, right, or it's hip-hop, right. All of these songs had responsibility as it relates to what was going on in their people, with their people, right, because they come from us, and they know that if things don't get better, then their loved ones are going to continue to suffer. So you have a jazz musician like uh, Leon Thomas. Well, Leon Thomas was actually a singer, but then you have Pharoah Saunders, and they came together and they made The Creator Has a Master Plan. And you probably heard me say that before, but those who are tuning in for the first time, that particular song was anthem for revolutionaries at that time. It allowed them to continue to go on and continue to fight. Bob Marley's song Zimbabwe helped the Zimbabweans fight against colonial rule. We have to understand that. If some of us seen the movie, towards the end of the movie, they actually showed a picture of him in Zimbabwe. They showed banners that had the face of Robert Mugabe, and that is very important to understand, because that should let artists currently know that they have a role, they have responsibility as it relates to the conditions of a people, because we only have but so much time to exist, right? The creative forces, the creator, however you identify it, has given you but so much time to do what you need to do. And those of us who choose to do what is best in terms of interest of a collective are willing to do what we have to do, regardless of the consequences. That's why we make it our business to make sure we have a discussion consistently on political prisoners, because our political prisoners need not be ignored. We must stand united with them in terms of letting our community know that they are important to us. And that being said, if you happen to be in Queensbridge and you see me, stop me, talk to me. Let's have a conversation. Let me know what you're willing to do. You write a letter to a political prisoner. Let them know that you are listening. Let them know that they are not forgotten, that they are loved, that they are appreciated. And this is exactly what needs to be done, because they should not be forgotten. They should not die in prison. We must organize to bring them home. And we can do that. Veronza Bowers is home. And Veronza Bowers, while he was incarcerated, he produced an album. He put together an album, him and Rev Love. And this album deals with meditation. So if you're uneasy and you need something to settle you, clear your mind, this particular album is appropriately titled Peace in the Chaos. We're all dealing with chaos. So Veronza Bowers accept the responsibility as a musician, right? We could call him a musician because he used his talents to put together music. And he decided that this is going to aid my people in their struggle, right? We have struggles on multiple levels, right? We deal with mental uh, attacks. We deal with physical attacks. We deal with spiritual attacks. We deal with attacks that are going to break us if we're not equipped to take those tasks on, right? Those attacks on, rather. Because those who are empowered understand the only way that they're going to remain in power by their ability to keep us where they want us to be kept. So that's the importance and power of music. When we look at hip hop and we look at what's going on, and we look at the history of hip hop and it being expression of oppressed people, we say Melly Mel had the message, and in the message he's talking about the consequences of choosing a particular lifestyle, where an individual who chooses the road and the life of a stick up kid ends with committing suicide. And very graphic when you listen to it, but it is he is being responsible in terms of enlightening his people, in terms of letting his people know that we have to do better. He accept the role of being accountable, and that's exactly what music does. It awakens you. It lets you know. Well, some music wakens you and it lets you know what you need to be accountable for. When you wake up and you go outside and your community is a certain way, how does that relate to you? How do you relate to the conditions of your community? That exactly what those who are engaged in putting together music are supposed to be aiding us in dealing with what's going on now, because them like us are affected by these conditions. But how are you affected if you're ignoring them and continue to go on and decide that somebody else is going to accept that responsibility? Not me, not now. Maybe tomorrow, maybe the day after. We continue to put things off until they find their way to become somebody else's responsibility and not ours. We keep saying that we don't have the time to do X, Y, and Z, but we need to prioritize our time, right? In terms of what we're going to dedicate our time to. So the musicians, when they making their music and they're putting albums together, you know, they're deciding what they're going to be creative about. And that's why it was so beautiful about musicians like Nina Simone. Nina Simone, who decided that she's going to stand in solidarity with her people. She's going to make songs that are going to let her people know that we have to keep fighting. We have to keep pushing, right? Because you can make a whole bunch of money off your music, right? But how are you going to enjoy your life if you are part of a people who are oppressed? So many people say that, I'm going to buy my way out of oppression, or I'm going to get that bag of money, and then oppression will not affect me uh, the same way. But then they're woken by harsh reality when they're doing something that is not necessarily bad, right? But yet it's looked upon differently because it's done by a person of color, right? And now they ask themselves, would I have been in this predicament if I wasn't the color I am? And now they forced to deal with the reality that my money is not enough to get me out of this current situation. Because as long as one of us is attacked, then we all are under attack. The minute we all accept that reality, or the majority of us accept that reality, now we decide what's next. What can I do? Matter of fact, what should I do? Right? Because it becomes a position that you have to take. Often we think that we can ignore problems. Often we think that there are really two options regarding politics, which is just the relationship between people and power. And we actually think that we can ignore what's going on. But the reality is we can't, right? Because politics is in everything. Politics is in music, right? That's why you look at the time periods of certain songs being put out by certain musicians, and why are they not getting a whole bunch of play? Why is it just? I remember growing up, and we had KRS-One was getting played. You had Poor Righteous Teachers. You had X Clan, right? They were promoting conscious hip hop, and I could see that on the TV often. But nowadays, unfortunately, that's not the case. And that's a deliberate act. And we have to know that we are being attacked on a number of different levels. But those songs at that particular time, it inspired us to look at what was going on, especially. I know for me, the song "You're Headed for Self-Destruction," it was dealing with the senseless violence in our community, and the fact that we had to deal with that as a group, as a whole. And I think that KRS-One putting that together was remarkable. It let other people know that we can do better. We have to do better. And some of us decided that we're going to think a whole lot more because of that song when we encounter situations that there's one or two ways to handle it. It's productive collectively or counterproductive collectively. And what I mean by that is saying, what you decide to do to somebody that looks like you is going to have an impact on your community. And you have to ask yourselves, is that going to be beneficial to our community or not? Because we talk, right? Gossip is a part of our culture, and it's something that you have to discipline yourself to refrain from. Because if you don't have that discipline, then you are engaged in it, and this is what carries on ideas, right? You're speaking on matters that you really haven't done deliberate research on, and it becomes something that somebody takes and they rearrange it, they give it a remix and carry it on to somebody else, and the story becomes something totally different than what actually happened. So I say that to say this, that you know all our actions is an expression of our culture. We need to be a part of a culture of accountability. Our musicians need to be a part of that. culture by creating music that's reflective to us moving forward, that's productive to us moving forward. And when I say forward, I mean better as a people. I mean better as we treat each other and how we deal with the situations that are occurring in our community. Just like those who took up the position that they were not going to stand and allow their people to be persecuted. You are these U.S. held political prisoners, people like Reverend Joy Powell, people like Imam Jamil Al-Amin, people like Mumia Abu Jamal, people like Kamal Siddiqui. That's why when we come on this platform, we say their names consistently. We let you know that they need to be in contact with, that they should not be ignored. That we need to stand up. We need to express our appreciation through our work, through our deeds. We need to say, our brothers will not die in prison. Our brothers will not be forgotten about. Our brothers will be recognized in our work. And, that's what we have to start letting our people know in terms of those who have interest in making music. If you're going to make music that is about changing the conditions of your people, about addressing those conditions and inspiring people to fight long and harder. Be inspired by people like um, John Coltrane, people like Nina Simone, people like Sam Cooke, those people like KRS One, those who decided that they're going to make music that is reflective of what's going on amongst their people. That they're not going to do things for the sole purpose of making money. Yes, we all need to make money to survive. Life is not free. We all got bills to pay. We all got families to support and take care of. But there's always morals at hand. There's always a right way and a wrong way to do things. And we got to ask ourselves that. Because my message goes out to the musicians making music. What is your music doing for our people? What is your music inspiring our people to do? Because you need to be inspired to make music that is going to inspire people to fight for what's correct, to accept the responsibility and accept their role that they have to take a position when it comes to our people being under attack. Be inspired by those musicians who decided that, making money is not going to be their primary focus. Their primary focus is making an impact. And what are you making an impact on? Right. So when I think about making an impact, I think about those who stood up and fought, those photographers who chose to use their skill to document our people, right? You think of the photos that were taken of the Black Panther Party with their breakfast programs, with their educational programs, with their connection and a relationship with our community and beyond. And those who took pictures of, you have Huey P. Newton going to different countries, and there was somebody who took a photo of that. And that's the power and the importance of music, right? You can make a song now, and it's around for eternity. And that song can be used at different periods of time to inspire people to say that they can do more, that they can step up, organize, and decide that they're not going to accept what's happening as something being normal, that they decided that they're going to do something, and they're going to do something because it's the right thing to do, not because, you know, they're being told to do something, they're being forced to do something, but they're conscious of what's happening and they're conscious of their impact on change, their ability to make change. And how does that happen? That happens through being organized. That happens to making a commitment to an organization, to do your job, to carry out the task at hand. And so all those musicians who are doing that, please continue to go on. All those who are not actually doing music that is beneficial to the collective in terms of us progressing, us making strides and moving forward and being a stronger, better and better people. Why are you not involved in that? And is what you're doing going to be beneficial to us long term, right? Because at some point, you're going to have to decide what is your legacy going to be about? You're having children. Those children will have children. And as you age and as you sit and reflect on your life, what did you do to change anything? It's better to be involved in the struggle now to learn what to do than to be forced into it because something traumatic happened to you. At least I think so. Because now you're coming from a place of emotion, and that emotion can be draining, right? Because now you're going to have to learn how to deal with that emotion, how to utilize that emotion to do something constructive. Because if you become reckless, now you're detriment to what's going on actually in terms of making progress, and your liability to it, your liability to yourself too, right? Because you're making moves out of emotions, you're not thinking through, you don't have proper training, you're not studying extensively, and you're going to make mistakes, and there's not nobody there to tell you about those mistakes. And you could have made better moves, and you could have did better things if you were patient, if you were not as emotional. So when we hear our musicians, let us start supporting those who are positive, and look at their body of work. And if they're not consistently making positive things, look at what is the most positive message that they have, and take that and use your area of influence and let people know that this particular artist needs to do more of this work. Because once we start making being positive popular, I think that others are going to be forced to do that, right? Because the music heeds to the demands of the people, and we are the people who listen to it. We support it on a number of areas. We go to concerts. Now, if what's positive is not being played or played often, then those who have the opportunity to make something positive are going to be discouraged to do it, because they're thinking about how they're going to make a living, how they're going to survive, right? And when I think about taking chances, risking, and I think about the Black Panther Party, and I think about these young brothers, majority of the comrades were females, and these strong sisters, they understood what their task was, and they decided that they were going to do something. And regardless of the pushback from the state, that they were willing to stand up, and they were willing to do what needed to be done, because that is the truest expression of love, to step up and fight back, to do what needs to be done, because that's exactly what you want done for you. Because your time is but so long, and your influence is going to be around. When you think about your impact and you think about what you left, you got to be mindful of that, right? You don't want somebody telling you, oh, but this is what you did, and it was wrong. Now they want the excitement of doing what you did that was wrong, to feel it themselves, to have that experience, right? They said the experience is at times the best teacher. Unfortunately, certain experiences you cannot come back from, right? It might be fatal. So me, as a lover of music, I have to do better with the music that I play and select. I have to allow particular music to that is being heard and is played from me to inspire others to actually want to do something, to accept their role, their responsibility in their community moving forward, and allow them to reflect as deeply as I'm reflecting on the impact music has on my life. So, as I conclude this episode of the NEPPC show, I like to just say, please, for this week, listen to some positive music. Write to a political prisoner as you listen to this positive music. Mumia Abu Jamal would love to hear from you. Imam Jamil Al-Amin would love to hear from you. Reverend Joy Powell would love to hear from you. Kamal Siddiqui would love to hear from you. And if you happen to be in Brooklyn, Commodore Park, July 4th to July 7th, we, the Northeast Political Prisoner Coalition, will be having a table. Come talk to us, learn more about political prisoners, get involved on any level. We appreciate any support that we can get because, you know, the call, free them all. Don't let political prisoners die in prison. Peace and love. Be safe in all your actions.